I was a hospital pharmacy technician. I made $22 an hour. I'm now in San Jose, Costa Rica. Let me tell you how I moved abroad. How did I move abroad without a pile of cash or without a remote job or something, okay? I'm gonna talk to you about like the 4 steps or 4 or 5 steps it took me to move abroad. And then I'll tell you, stick around to the end because I'll also tell you how I would speed that process up if I were trying to move abroad today, right? If I were just getting started with my plan today, how would I do things a little bit faster and a little bit more direct and less of a, roundabout way, okay? Welcome. My name is Stephanie Perry. I'm currently a house sitter, the creator of House Sitter School, and I'm the co-creator of Exodus Summit. And on this channel, I help Black women take sabbaticals and career breaks, move abroad, bop around the world as a nomad. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button to this channel, please. Subscribe and turn on notifications, ring the notification bell, and you'll be notified when I post a new video or when I go live. Welcome. Welcome. All right, so for me, moved abroad means that I have lived outside of the United States. I haven't lived in the United States since 2015. I am in Costa Rica and I've been here since, I don't know, for a few months now, but I don't have a home in Costa Rica. I'm staying in Airbnbs. I think that's an important distinction, but I would still say I've moved abroad in the sense that I don't live in the US anymore. Okay? I don't have any home or any place in the U.S. No home in the U.S., no job in the U.S., none of that. And I could have residency in Costa Rica. We'll talk about that in a couple of steps. I just haven't done the paperwork yet, okay? Costa Rica started giving Americans 180 days on their you people with a U.S. passport get 180 days to stay in Costa Rica, and then all you have to do is leave, and they'll give you another 180 days. So, I've been chilling. But that is not the way that I would recommend everyone do it, and so we'll talk about that. But let me get to step one first. So step one of how I went from making $22 an hour to living outside of the United States is that I saved $14,400 back in 2014. This is 2014 dollars, right? I saved $14,400 so that I could leave the U.S. and be out of the U.S. for 1 year. At that time, in 2015 dollars, $14,400 or $1,200 per month to spend meant that I could be in Southeast Asia and live in Southeast Asia, bopping around from place to place, city to city, town to town, or parked in one city for a while, and still have enough money to eat, have enough money to have a place to stay, have enough money for transportation around, right? Have enough money for my travel medical insurance, which I also got right away. $12,000 a month is $40 a day. And that was a normal budget for a solo traveler in Southeast Asia at the time who was okay with staying in hostels or in low budget places or doing work exchanges, which I did at the time. Sometimes I did some work exchanges and I got free room and board, free place to stay and food by doing some work exchanges or volunteer work. So that's how I made a $1,200 per month budget last as a grown-up. I was 41 years old back then. Almost 10 years ago. 41 years old, and I could survive on a $1,200 per month budget pretty nicely without, sweating it too much in Southeast Asia. Number one, the step one is a thing that I would change today. No, let me go through these 4 steps and then I'll tell you the things that I would change, okay? So step one, I saved $14,400 by working overtime and cutting my expenses in Wilmington, Delaware. At the time I lived in Wilmington, Delaware. Cutting my expenses meant cooking my own food instead of eating out or buying food at the hospital that I worked at. I used to eat in the cafeteria all the time. So switching from eating in the cafeteria or buying my food at Wawa to cooking my own meals, right? Plus working overtime. Plus at the time I cut off, I keep forgetting to turn this thing off. At the time I cut off like DirecTV. This was 10 years ago. So I was still paying for DirecTV and I cut out some expenses. And I was able to save $14,400 in 15 months. So that was step one. Step number two, after saving the money, I traveled for a year. I didn't move abroad, but I did travel for a full year. Traveled around Southeast Asia. I went to Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines. I went to Japan. I went to Australia. On the way back, I went to, what is that country? Serbia. On the way back, I went to Serbia and Hungary and Spain and Portugal and France, right? That was a year. So that was step 2. Step 3 was I started house sitting and coaching after I got back to the US. I got back to the US after spending every dollar of those $14,400 and deciding that I wasn't ready to go back to the US to live the old life. Or I guess I decided that I never wanted to live that old life again. What I wanted to do was live a different way, live a new way. I wanted to be in other countries. And so I started house sitting and I started my YouTube channel. House sitting was the first thing I started. House sitting is not a way that I make money, but house sitting is a way that I lower my expenses. I house sit through a platform called Trusted House Sitters, and most house sits are unpaid, but I get free accommodation. So like in the year of 2018, I house sat, starting 2018 into 2019, I house sat for 11 months out of 12, right? For starting in, I think, February or March of 2018, I was booked to house sit for 11 out of 12 months. That means 11 out of 12 months that I did not need to pay for a place to stay. So that's a thing that I did so that I could be anywhere in the world. Trusted house sitters, house sits are all over the world. And so was I. And I got to see some places and like test out some places that I would want to move to long term, test out some places that I would want to live. House sitting is how I first got to Mexico. Even though I'm from the US, I'd never been to Mexico, our neighbor. House sits took me to Mexico and showed me how like awesome my life could be if I lived there or someplace like there. It showed me what it was like to be in a community. Sometimes when you're traveling and you're a tourist and you only stay in hotels and stuff, you don't see what real life could be like for you. But house sitting, especially house sitting in Mexico, showed me what it was like to build a life in a different way. A life where you're in community with other people instead of feeling like you need to always be the person doing everything. Right? From small things like dropping my laundry off to the laundry lady, right? To big things like having people who would help me do the things that I don't know how to navigate in a new country, right? I don't understand how to pay my electric bill yet or pay the electric bills. When I was house sitting, the client sometimes would leave the money to pay the electric bill, but I didn't know how to pay it. But I'm in community with other people there, and they tell me how to go to the OXXO and just give me your bill, and that's how you pay it, right? Being in community with people as a house sitter really opened my eyes up to a different way, to the way that I wanted to start living my life going forward. So I started house sitting and I started my YouTube channel. The house sitting lowered my expenses, and then the YouTube channel eventually started giving me money. When your channel is first monetized, you don't make a boatload of cash. But the second full year that my channel was monetized, I believe, I made more money than I made as a pharmacy technician. I made more than $46,000 the second year of my YouTube channel just from YouTube ad revenue. So that freed me up to be anywhere in the world as well. So now I know that I can get free accommodation anywhere in the world, and I know that I can make as much as or more than the amount of money that I made with a traditional job on my YouTube channel, right? So that was the third thing I did. Saved $14,400, traveled for a year, started house sitting and my YouTube channel. And then the fourth thing that I did to move abroad, even though I just told you I haven't finished this process, is that I started making enough money to get residency in another country. A lot of countries are really super clear about how much money you need to apply for temporary or permanent residency. I now qualify for residency in Mexico, Costa Rica, Portugal, my top 3, right? And a whole bunch of other countries because I know how now to make money that's not tied to any specific location. Being able to make money from anywhere in the world instead of having to go into my hospital that I worked at to make money has changed my life, Being location free, right? Having location freedom is my favorite freedom, right? Or one of my favorite freedoms. I also like having time freedom. And that's what this route has given me. So I named a couple of countries where I know I qualify for residency, but if you don't even know what countries you might be interested in, let me point you to the What Country Should You Move To quiz. I'm the co-creator of Exodus Summit, along with career break coach Rashida Dow, and we've created an awesome quiz for you that can help you kind of direct you to a city in another country that you might be super happy with. So I'm gonna link in the description to the What Country Should I Move To quiz. It's exodussummit.com/quiz. And so this quiz might help point you to some places that you might wanna start researching. If you don't even know what countries to research, you won't know if you qualify for residency in those countries. So take the quiz, and it'll give you a starting point. It may not tell you the exact country you want to move to, but it may give you a starting point on what types of countries you might want to look at, or what types of cities in other countries you might want to look at. Of course, the link to the What Country Should I Move To quiz is in the description. You can go ahead and click on it now, okay? I saw a video pretty recently on Launch to Wealth's YouTube channel. Hey, Vanessa. Her video was called Get Paid $6,800 a Month to Travel as a Woman. And she talked to Kimi, the passport abuser, about her life traveling the world and her travel, the way that her travel business is making money. She's an entrepreneur who is just making money teaching people how to travel, teaching people especially how to travel solo. I'm doing a very similar thing. My YouTube channel, as I already said, teaches people how to be a house sitter, how to bop around the world, how to take a sabbatical, how to move abroad. And so being able to teach something that I already know how to do has been a really freeing thing as well. So that's it. Those are the 4 steps that it took for me to leave the United States, even though when I started the process, I made $22 an hour as a hospital pharmacy technician. Now, if I was starting things over today, I would do things in a different order, and I would cut some things out because I know more things than I knew back then. First of all, I know about house sitting. So one way that I would really speed up the move abroad process is that I would get started house sitting right now. I would get started house sitting. Being able to get free accommodation anywhere in the world is not just a travel hack. It's not just a life hack. It is a cheat code to all the good things in life. And I love it, and I feel like a genius for being a house sitter. So first thing I would do is I would get started house sitting, especially if I was a friend to animals, which I am, right? If you like cats or dogs or fish or chickens, right? You don't have to like all animals, but you do need to like some animal, right? If you're a friend to animals, people will give you free accommodation in their home to take good care of their animal while they're away. And that means you don't have to pay for a place to stay. All you do is you pay for your membership to Trusted House Sitters, and you have access to this whole platform of people who are looking for a house sitter, and they're all over the world, literally. So first thing I would do to speed up my move abroad plan, if I were just starting today, is I would get started house sitting so that I have access to free accommodation, right? This is helpful if you're a friend to animals, if you like pets. The second thing I would do is I would get a job that I could take on the road if I didn't have a stash of cash already. Instead of saving up that $14,400 over the course of 15 months, right? Instead of that, I would just get a job that I could do from another country. People ask me a lot how to get a job in another country, and the answer is you don't. The countries that you want to move to, that we like, right? They probably don't pay you enough money to work if you were to work there. They wouldn't pay you enough money. And also, countries aren't just opening doors up to foreigners to come and take jobs away from people who already live there, right? Just like in your country, they don't do that in that country either. For most people. Some jobs are on shortage and some jobs are on special lists. But for the most part, you're not gonna get a job in another country to move to another country. Okay? But what you could possibly do is take the job you already have and make it a remote job by pitching it to your employer. Would your employer let you be truly remote, let you work from anywhere in the world? Now, I was a hospital pharmacy technician. Part of what I did was I put tablets in the container and closed the container and put a label on it. That's not a thing that I could do via phone, but there are remote pharmacy technicians. So I would look for something that is remote friendly. If you have no idea how to really get a remote job, then you should be at Exodus Summit 2024. If what you need to be able to live out your dream life in the mountains somewhere, on a beach somewhere, in a high rise, in a beach house, in a villa, whatever, right? If what you need to live out your dream is a job that you can do from that dream location, you should be at Exodus Summit 2024. Exodus Summit is an online conference for Black women who want to move abroad. And one of the sessions that we're hosting this year is remote work, how to find remote work. And if you get the all access pass, there's a workshop for a bonus workshop on how to use AI tools to speed up your remote work search to make it less frustrating and more fruitful. Okay, Exodus Summit 2024 is online October 11th through 14th, 2024. The link is in the description of this video. It's exodussummit.com. Click on the link, register for Exodus Summit, get ready to learn how to find a truly remote job. If in 2014, remote jobs were as prevalent as they are today, right, or 2015, I'd have been out the door almost immediately. Listen, I would have let that stuff in that house go, right? Put a yard sale sign up, and I would have been gone so much faster. And I would have been able to get to this dream life so much sooner and with a little less stress, a little less wear and tear on myself. So, truly remote work, Exodus Summit 2024, it's probably more likely for you than you know, right? A lot of people think remote work means I'm a data analyst or something. I don't know what a data analyst is, but people think remote jobs are in some really narrow category, but your skill set is probably something that someone is hiring a remote worker for right now, right? What you need to know is, what are those positions? If it's not the job that you already do, what positions are you qualified for? What positions could you do right now to be remote? And then how do you find them? And then how do you position yourself? How do you apply for them in a way that makes you the person that they hire, right? This is what Libria Jones is amazing at teaching, and Libria Jones is the speaker at Exodus Summit 2024 who's teaching the session on finding remote work and who's teaching the bonus session on using AI tools to supercharge your search for a remote job. So again, if I had known about house sitting and if I had been known to get a remote job at that time, I'd have been out the door in weeks, not months. And, I would have saved myself a little bit of stressing about things when my money started getting low. But we're all where we're supposed to be. Where you're supposed to be, I think, is probably Exodus Summit 2024. So I hope you'll go ahead and register. There are other sessions in the summit, of course. I'm teaching house sitting. Okay, if you need to know more about house sitting, how to get free accommodation around the world by taking good care of people's pets, you should also be at Exodus Summit 2024. If that couple of sentences I said about how I qualify for residency now in some other countries piqued your interest, and you want to learn what types of residency visas are out there in the world that you might qualify for, you should be at Exodus Summit 2024. There are places that are making it pretty easy for you to move there. They're really clear about, here are the qualifications and here's the process. And so Rashida Dow's session in Exodus Summit 2024 will show you what types of residencies you might qualify for, right? And how to do your due diligence to make sure that you find the right fit for you. Rashida Dow is a lawyer, and so she's going to talk about you making sure that you're in a country legally. I want you to feel what I feel as a person who does not live in the United States anymore. I feel good. I feel free. I feel peaceful. I don't feel like my life's purpose is work anymore. Even though, back in the day in 2015, when I started saving for this trip, I thought work was supposed to be the center of my life, and then I had to fit the other things around. And turns out, work is not supposed to be the center of your life. You're supposed to have a whole life. Work is supposed to be one slice, and I've been able to create that. I've been able to create a full life without being just a worker. I've also been able to be a Black woman in Costa Rica who does not have to carry all day, every day, the weight of being a Black woman in the United States, right? These are different places with different people, different histories, and also like different ways of treating people, right? Different ways of seeing people as human. In Costa Rica, I'm still a Black woman, right? But I'm also a person worthy of all of the respect or good treatment that Costa Ricans give to people. Whereas in the United States, it was always and is always evident, clear, that there are people who don't view me as whole human and don't view me as worthy of respect. There are people who believe that they are better than me because of the color of their skin and treat me that way all day, every day, at jobs, in stores, on the street. And that is not my life in Costa Rica. In Costa Rica, I'm a person. Costa Ricans are very good people. They're peaceful people, they're chill people, they're good people, and they also treat people like humans. When I walk around through my day in Costa Rica, I feel welcome, I feel good. When I walk around in the United States, I don't feel either one of those things, okay? So I hope that you'll consider making your move abroad plan, even if right now you have something that you think is in the way. Might be the amount of money you have or don't have. Might be the stuff you know and don't know, right? I keep forgetting this thing. I hope that you will start making your plan. If you don't know how to start, I already told you, come to Exodus Summit. Come to Exodus Summit 2024. This is our 5th year. I co-host it with Rashida Dow. This is our 5th year hosting Exodus Summit because it gets Black women's plans together, okay? Black women come to Exodus Summit every year thinking like this would be great to do, but I don't know if it's really possible for me because of my income, because of the type of job that I do, because of my family, because of my children, my spouse, my parents, right? They come to Exodus Summit thinking, would be nice, but I don't know. And they leave Exodus Summit with a plan, right? So I hope that'll be you this year. I'll see you there. If you're watching this video after October 14, 2024, when Exodus Summit is over, go ahead and go to exodussummit.com anyway. You may want to go ahead and get the replays to the sessions. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Please take a second and hit the like button before you go, okay? And then share this video with a Black woman you know who might like to live in another country, okay? Thank you so much. Don't forget to take the Which Country Should I Move To quiz. I'll see you again next time. Bye.